Hey everyone! I wanted to share with you the progress that I've made on the early access release so far. I've done quite a bit of work on every aspect of the game, and I really hope you'll enjoy it. Just some warnings before we begin. There will be spoilers, so if you want to go into the update not knowing anything, I recommend you skip this one. Also, this is a work in progress build of the game. Things are going to change, things may be added or removed, and it doesn't represent the final early access build. Alright, let's get into it. So this is my little house that I've been working on, just to test some of the new building stuff. We've got vertical slabs here for these pillars. I've got new paint colors being used. You can check over here the roof, got a grayscale paint roller. So this is what I use to test the survival experience. So this is a good opportunity to show off some of the changes I've made to the inventory and crafting. The inventory got a small redesign. I've made sure that the panels are all aligned, redone these buttons, given them tooltips so that they're easier to understand. You've got the inventory sort, stacked to nearby chests. And you'll notice the crafting menu also shows recipes that you can't craft, but you at least have one ingredient from. And this is super helpful. It's helped me while playing a lot. So the other change is if I walk up to these crafting stations, I can press E and then you can see I've got these tabs down at the bottom. So it's automatically detecting that I'm standing nearby these stations and I can craft anything from them and I can sort them by category. So if I still only want to use the workbench, I can click the workbench and see recipes for that. Same with like by hand or whatever. The other bonus of this is now if I'm looking in a chest, say I've got like my metal ores and stuff here, I can craft stuff from these components from within the chest. So if I want to make some tools and stuff, I can just come here. I don't have to keep pulling ingredients out of the chest to craft anymore. And that also means like if I come back from a mining trip, say I've got like a bunch of like ores and stuff. Or wait, let me put like one of these in here that's more realistic. And then I've come back from a mining trip and I'm like, I don't want to deal with all this. I can just hit stack to nearby chests, then open this chest, and then find the furnace tab, and then be like, okay, I'm crafting on my iron now. So it's really, really quick compared to how it used to be. You can just get going really fast. Now there's a pop-up at the top right corner of the screen that you're probably getting pretty annoyed at this point. And that's the new Compendium feature. So if you press P, it'll open this little menu here. And this is basically an optional guide for how to play the game. So if you ever get stuck, you can press P and it will kind of show you like, oh, here's something you haven't done yet or what you want to work on. Now, this is a bit buggy in my game, so it didn't save, but you can see here it's detected that I've like picked up iron, I've picked up silver. The one it's trying to get me to click on is this, which is just like the welcome node. You can see there's a little text wrapping issue. I got to work on that. But this, I'm hoping, will be good for new players who like don't necessarily understand what's going on or haven't been able to intuit the controls or the crafting, and it can give them like resources like this is how you do this or whatever. The pop-up is the only point that you're required to interact with it. Once you've clicked on this, you can just completely ignore it if you prefer to just explore on your own and figure things out. Otherwise, if you do need it, it's always there. So the most recent feature I've been working on is Steam input. So now the game supports just about any controller that's compatible with Steam input. And I can give you an example. So I have an 8-bit DOE controller which can swap different input modes. Right now it's set to an Xbox 360 controller. You can navigate all the menus, join the worlds, it all works. So now everything in the game supports controllers. You can see the movement now is an analog input, so I can be very precise with the left stick and the camera is the right stick. You can open the inventory and controller with the D-pad, but if you prefer a more PC-like experience, you can use the right stick and control it as a cursor. And this is great for newer input types like the Steam Deck or Steam controller that have touchpad. You can map the touchpad to this cursor. And one of the cool things that Steam Input allows me to do now is if you have like a Switch controller, something that supports Gyro, you can map that to the Gyro. If I open this menu, I'm going to switch my controller over to the Switch mode. And there we go. So it's automatically mapped all the controls to the Switch controller. And now you can see there's a gyro behavior option, and I've set that to the camera. So if I go back now, I can control the camera with the gyro. So there's a lot of flexibility for controller inputs now. And it's all mapped using the Steam Input Actions API. So if I want to rebind a button, I can hit Edit Layout, and you can see all of the actions are labeled with the in-game commands. So I can change this to anything, like open Compendium, quick heal, fly down, whatever. I'm just going to leave it at jump though, because I want to be able to jump. So now I want to show off some of the new world generation and some of the other features you can expect when upgrading from the demo to the early access release. I'm going to create a new character. I'm going to turn cheats on. Let's call this one, I'm just going to name it after myself, Melon. And let's pick me as the skin. Alright. And I'll create a new world. So in the demo, this option was disabled, but in the early access version, you can use it. Lets you change the world preset. And there's a lot of interesting options here. You got floating islands, which is really cool. An abstract one. Overhangs if you really like the more rare world generation type in the main version. And flat world. And I've been using the flat world to test a lot of things. It's really useful. I'm just going to do the default world so you can see the new terrain generation. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but I added a new animation for generating worlds and a little bit of sound to make it a bit ominous. And here we are. So one of the features you'll get access to when you get the early access version is the cheat menu. So if I go over here, cheats, I can turn on no clip, infinite items, creative menu, god mode, instant break blocks, infinite stamina, and edit adventure blocks. So now if I open my menu and press C, boom, there's all the items in the game. There's a lot of spoilers here. So if you want to pause the game and have a look at that, then feel free to. Just note there may be some items that I don't think will make it into the final build, or like testing items. Anyway, I can turn on no clip, I can fly upwards and have a look. Wow. Okay, that is some cool terrain generation right off the bat. That looks awesome. Okay. I'll have to look at the seed of this later because I think that's awesome. Anyway, you can have a look at the new desert over here. You can see a prominent structure over here, which is the new desert dungeon. Originally, I had the philosophy I wanted all of the dungeons to be underground because I wanted the surface to always be for you. So if you want to build something, you don't have existing structures that kind of ruin the vibe of what you're going for. But I really, really wanted a big tower. I feel like it's more unique compared to the underground sprawling dungeons. You can see there's a locked door and you'll need a key to get into it. I don't want to spoil too much, but you can see this little structure here and you'll have to battle your way up the tower to get to the top. And at the top, it's unfinished yet, but there'll be the new treasures waiting for you. And you'll be able to look down below and see something burst out of the ground here. But you will have to wait until early access to be able to see what that is. I'm not going to show it off today. So one of the new things I've worked on with the new biomes is a way to change the atmosphere based on the biome you're in. So I'm going to speed up my flight speed right now just to demonstrate this. If I go into the forest, you'll notice the sky color change a little bit. And it becomes a bit more prominent at nighttime. So I'm going to jump down here and we're going to speed up the daylight cycle. And you'll see there's some lovely new colors for sunset. Oh, there's a new monster. I'm going to avoid that guy. And at nighttime, you get this really bright, beautiful blue color. And I think it really makes the desert feel really interesting, makes it pop. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So there's another new enemy. Avoid that. You can see there's little skeletal remains, there's palm trees and oases, and also exposed lava pockets on the surface. I tried to make it more interesting than just a barren wasteland like it was back in the playtest version. It was just sand and cacti. But hopefully this is a bit more interesting now visually and to explore. It's also, I can go underground, some stuff under here. new ores, new monsters, things to do. So let's go check out the snow biome now. That is on the opposite side of the desert. Now the snow biome's been in the game for quite a while. It just hasn't been included in the demo. But the version of the snow biome that has been in the game, just unaccessible, was somewhat unfinished. So I've added some new things to make this a little better. One thing on the surface, I've added these little hot springs. I think they look great, especially at nighttime. I'm gonna pass the time. You can see they sort of glow subtly. And these will heal you. So if you take damage, let me like hurt. I don't know what the command is. Anyway, these will heal you if you sit in them, which is nice. So one of the new things as well is if you try and go for a swim in here, it's very cold water, so you'll start freezing. You can see I'm shivering here. If I had God mode off, I'd start taking damage like crazy right now. And this is also one of the ways it prevents you from entering the dungeon early. So if you see I try and go into this dungeon, I'll start getting really cold. And you will have to explore and get something that will help prevent you from feeling this way when you enter here. And I've reworked some of the underground as well in here. I think it looks really pretty. Lots of things to do, things to collect. It looks awesome. Like, look at that. It's a really fun experience. I had fun playing this. It looks so cool when you look at it like this. So many things, so many glowing things underground. So I think that's a decent overview of the new biomes. I didn't go into detail about all of the things you collect, but hopefully that gives you some things to look forward to. So I've created a little flat world here to show off some of the new building tools that I've put in the game. They're very simple, mainly just a continuation of the existing systems that I've added. I've added 2 new shapes, that being the vertical slab, which is very useful, and the column. So instead of, I know a lot of people would use logs to create this, but now you can just do it with any block. So I pick bricks, make brick columns. One of the interesting ones I've added is a bookshelf. And I really like this because it interacts quite nicely with the shape system. You can do some cool bookshelf shapes. And a cool example is like, if you wanted to do like a very normal real life looking bookshelf, you can use the vertical slabs and make these. I really like how these look. It copies the top texture on the side just specifically for this block to make that work. I've also added some new paint rollers to get a bit more variety of colors. I've added this one, which should have some extra colors for pixel art. That'll make it a bit easier. Bit more variety in the color space. I feel like the default one is, the default one is nice, but it's more generic. This one adds some nicer, more stylized colors. There's a grayscale one. This just goes from black all the way to white. And what I've done is it reuses some of the colors from other palettes, just to save palette space and also prevent duplicates. I feel like it would be very confusing if you had multiple of the same color. And then here's the desert palette as well. Nice, like oranges and lots of good colors for that. Now, this palette system, you can actually replace the colors. If you don't like these colors that I've picked, you can go and create an asset pack to change the colors. I'm going to try and do that really quickly. So as an example, here's just a wall that has red, green, and blue on it. Now I'm going to swap out the colors and show you what it looks like. Alright, so I created a little example asset pack. I've applied it, and now you can see these colors are different. I just decided to shift the hue as an easy way to change all the colors. And now you can see they're all different. So yeah, if you really want to create like custom colors, then you can do that. Just know that it's client side only, like it doesn't change on the server as well. So now I'm going to demonstrate one of the more work in progress features of the game right now. And that is the comfort and NPC system. This is something I started working on early on, but then eventually moved on to finishing up the biomes because it's a complex system and I needed a break from it. So the plan is, I would like players to build houses. Like, I want there to be an incentive for people to build things. And one of the ways to do that I think Terraria does well, is NPC housing. So I've added these signs that you can place on your wall, and these are kind of like, they're almost like for rent signs. They don't have to pay anything, but they signify like, this is a room that somebody can move into. So I've got a pretty basic room, but it still looks comfortable. There's a bed, there's a door, it's decently sized, there's lighting. So if I click on this sign, it'll say, oh, it's open to an NPC, the room size is perfect, it's well lit, and you feel comfortable. So this means it's good conditions for an NPC to move in. For now, I've got to run a command. I'll do town. And you can see, okay, we got the blacksmith. So this blacksmith, originally I wanted them to have more unique functionality, but I think for the early access release, I need to strip it down to the basics and just make them have a shop, which I know is annoying, but that's the most I can do for this release. So I can click on this blacksmith to talk to them, and I've got a few options. I can check their comfort levels, and they'll tell me how they're feeling. So I want to make it so different NPCs have different requirements for where they want to stay. Right now that's not implemented, but they do have a generic comfort level thing. So this room, they'll feel comfortable in. Also, you can hear them using the temporary audio from the Pukeko bird that I've got added in. So just ignore that. You can open up a shop menu. This is also still a work in progress. I think you might recognize this as the alpha shop menu. I've still got to balance out all the currency and all that. It's a lot of work to do. Balance out a lot of items in the game. I think I'm up to about maybe over 600 items. I can't remember the specifics, but it's a lot. And you can just say bye. So they'll give you like a randomized message each time. I feel like there's a lot of room to grow with this system. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to do, but it's a surprisingly complex system and I need to keep the scope low just so that I'm able to finish it because I'm just one person. So another system I can demonstrate right now is the beds. So you'll notice these rooms have beds in them. Now I'm going to come over here to show you what an uncomfortable room looks like. Oh, the blacksmith wants to follow me. So this bed does not look very comfortable to me. I do not like this room. I'm going to try sleeping in it. Yep, the room is too small. The area is well lit, but I do feel quite exposed. It's not a very nice area. Now I'm going to try this bed. This is even worse. The area, it's not an enclosed space. The area is too dark and I feel very exposed. But let's try sleeping in this bed over here. Its room size is perfect. The area is well lit and I feel comfortable. So you can see the nighttime is now moving. What is intended is that the better your room is, the better you'll sleep. Because this is a decent room, you can see the nighttime is moving, but I want to make it so that you can get an even better room to speed up the night even more. Basically, I want to discourage people from just carrying a bed around in their inventory and placing it down to skip the night. So the system is sort of designed to encourage you to create like little stations. Say even if you're out and about and you want to sleep to skip the night, then you'd still at least have to create a hospitable environment for the bed, and that encourages building infrastructure and at least some sort of living environment. Another aspect of the game that I've put a bit of effort into now is the movement system. You'll notice the hand is bobbing at the bottom right. That never used to happen, and I feel like it makes it a lot more natural looking. You also get a small amount of inertia, so you used to kind of be able to turn quite quickly. Now you get a tiny bit of resistance, and I feel like it makes it feel a bit more natural and less... It's still snappy, but it's less abrupt, it's less grating. And I made sure that, like, parkour, it still feels good. You still get a bit of air control, so I've made some changes as well to how sneaking works. This is one of the biggest complaints and feedback that I've gotten, especially early on when people first discovered the game and they're like, why isn't sneaking something you can do by default? So now I'm not wearing any sneakers and I can still sneak. So what I've done is the original sneaking behavior I have just given to the default player controller. So now you can go over to the edges, but you can still fall off. It just sort of gives you a little bit of resistance. So by default, you can still do this, and it's pretty easy to, you know, bridge. I think if you just hold down right click, you won't fall off. But if you want to be extra sneaky, you can still equip sneakers, and these will make it pretty much impossible for you to fall off. It really slows you down. So if you definitely do not want to fall off an edge, these are the sneakers for you. So hopefully people enjoy that. So if you look up right now, you'll notice the clouds look a bit different to how they look in the demo. This is something I've been working on. I'm not sure if it'll be like this by default for the full version, just for performance reasons, but these clouds are a lot more volumetric than they were before. I feel like they have some nice depth to them. And then also, this is definitely an optional feature because it's unfinished. If I head over into the snow biome, something else I've been working on, now we have these. I'm still not set on the look of them. But I wanted to include it anyway, just because I had made it, so why not? And I think it looks pretty nice. I think this would be a cool addition to the snow biome. Another small bit of polish I've been working on is animated texture support. So with the way I've set up asset packs, you can animate any texture by providing an extra file to specify the animation. And in this case, I've animated lava. And I think it really helps to sell the effect of like this bubbling, boiling magma, I guess, in the undergrowth. And you can also see I've been using the new environmental effects. If you're standing close to lava, you get a nice red glow around you. But then if you come up into the undergrowth caves, it finally looks overgrown to me. And it looks very like atmospheric. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm very happy with this. And I hope you'll have fun exploring this and looking around. I think it's pretty beautiful. Now you'll also notice that the health bar has changed. So I've decided to swap from a hearts system to a health bar. And the reason I did that is because with the hearts system, I don't think there was enough granularity to do the type of balancing that I wanted to do. The problem was because you only had about, at maximum health, you only had 40 HP to work with. So if I wanted something that was better than 20 but worse than 21, that's just not possible. You have to pick a discrete value. So that made a lot of the early armor feel kind of pointless. But now I've gone through and rebalanced everything. So everything all has new values, the damage, swing values like delays. You can see I've also added some new weapons. Here's some quick previews of them. Glass cannon, coconut cannon, new ammo types. A lot has changed, and I've done a practice playthrough from start to finish, and all of the damage felt pretty good. The only thing I haven't balanced yet is the bosses. The bosses still need a bit of work, but in terms of their behaviors, they're done. So if you want an estimate for how close this is to completion, I won't give you a time frame, but it's like 95% done. The biggest parts I still need to work on are that NPC system I showed you. I feel like that still needs a bit of work. I'd say that's probably about 60 to 70% done. And the bosses are essentially done. They just need a balancing pass. Other than that, right now I've mainly just been focusing on polishing up existing systems. So I did a big playthrough. I'll go to the playthrough world. Here we go. Oops. Well, there's a bug I gotta fix. That's why I gotta do this balancing pass. So this was what I played in to test the new features, make sure everything was alright, and I had a lot of fun with it. My playthrough lasted about 7 hours, but that was with broken bosses. I was able to kill all of the bosses within like a few seconds, and then also I know how the game works. So I'm hoping, don't take this as a guarantee, I'm really hoping that for a new player who doesn't know what's going on, they'll probably be able to get about 10 hours of progression content out of it. But after that point, you're mainly just doing like building and stuff. One of the other things that I worked on polishing as well was the potions. I got some feedback on that. So now potions are crafted with plants. So now you've got a reason to use the farming system. A lot of the old crops have been given uses in potions now. So I've just been doing a lot of polishing. I want it to be a good experience. I know it's an early access build, but I still want it to feel like you're getting your money's worth for it. So that's what I've been working on, and I hope you enjoyed this look at it. It's been interesting making it. I've had a good time recently polishing this up and playing it, and it's been really fun finally seeing all this work come together. So I hope you have a good day, and I hope that you stick around and are excited for the early access release of Allumeria. Thank you for watching.